Week 1 of the NFL season is a wrap, and the Chicago Bears, they're 1-0 after a wild 27-23 win over the Detroit Lions. So much to break down from this game. But one of the pressing questions for me has been, was it Money Mitch Trubisky in the fourth quarter, or was it Meltdown Matt Patricia, or was it something altogether different that contributed to the Bears' win? We're going to get into that and a whole lot more. I'm Dan Durkin, and this is the All 22 Review.
Wait a second. Lions about to win this thing? Oh man, oh no. Man, just an absolutely brutal way for DeAndre Swift to start his professional career. Tough break, but like I was saying, this is a wild game. Both of these teams had so many missed opportunities. It really could have gone either way, and it just came out to that play right there. But I've heard a lot of different thoughts as to how and why this game ended up the way that it did. So went back, watched the film, finally got the all 22 and was able to look at that. And so want to go through and share with you guys some of my observations here and see what you glean from it as well. So here we go. From my perspective, this was the turning point in the game. 5.5 minutes left in the game. The Lions have the ball in Bears territory, up by 10. Matt Prater hadn't missed a field goal to this point in the game. They're driving. 2nd and 8, and Matthew Stafford, who had just been playing really well from the second into the third quarter, takes a sack on this second down play and puts the Lions in a bad spot, gets them into 3rd down and 17 situation. They're able to pick up only 5 yards on this screen past DeAndre Swift, making this a 55-yard field goal attempt for Matt Prater, who has plenty of leg to hit this, but that extra distance made a huge difference here. Doinks it off the right upright, and all of a sudden the Bears have new life. You know, you're down 10, 3 timeouts. It's let's go time, and this is where the Bears really turned up the tempo, and they found, from my perspective, what was the most important piece to their turnaround was identifying an enormous mismatch in the Lions secondary and taking full advantage of it. Matt Patricia's defensive identity is single high safety coverage, whether it's cover 1, cover 3. He is committed to that scheme for the most part, as he's been his entire time as the Lions head coach, in particular against the Bears, even though they've had a lot of success against it. I've written a lot about this in the past. It's surprised me, but this is his identity. This is what he believes in. So why do teams want to play, cover 1? It gives you some flexibility with what you can do with your strong safety. And so you can bring him into the box if you want a little bit of help with run support, or if you want to match him up. If it ends up he's against a tight end, you have a good matchup in that situation. But when I started looking at the numbers for Trubisky to try and understand, what was this really a case of the Lions just switching all of a sudden to, man coverage late? That wasn't the situation, and the numbers up here will kind of show this to you. The Lions did throw some zone looks at the Bears early, some basically cover 3, and you'll see here 5 of 9 Trubisky was against zone, 74 yards. Against man, which was the predominant coverage scheme for the Lions, 15 of 25, 168 yards and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, those numbers look gaudy. Good volume of passes, but yards per attempt actually higher on the zone side. So for me, it really wasn't this switch to man coverage, because it's frankly just the scheme that Patricia had committed to. For me, when I look at this game, it was attrition, and it was specifically attrition in the Lions secondary. And so we're going to map that out in pretty specific terms here. Keep in mind, Jeff Okudah, the Lions' #1 draft pick from Ohio State, wasn't in this game, so they were already down one of their better cornerbacks. So now this chart, what this represents are Trubisky's passes. Red indicates incompletions, green indicates completions, and then the corresponding yardage is listed underneath. So back and forth start for Mitch. The first injury hits for the Lions secondary. It's slot cornerback Justin Coleman. He gets hurt, gets replaced by Darryl Roberts. At that point in the game, Mitch Trubisky is 7 for 17, 107 yards, and a negative .2 EPA, which is expected points added per pass at this point. So really low production from Mitch at this point in the game. So Roberts goes to slot cornerback, and then the next injury hits. That's Desmond Trufant, another hamstring injury at 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the third quarter. More shuffling in the Lions secondary. Trufant leaves. Robert goes from the slot to left cornerback, and in comes Tony McRae. This is when the wheels fell off in the Lions secondary. The Bears wisely put a target on McRae, and this is what I talk about from wet match to blowtorch. Look at the numbers from Trubisky to end this game. And so many of these, as we'll detail here in the film, these targets went at McRae. They identified a mismatch. Anthony Miller had his way. Javon Wims had his way against him. And then Trubisky ended this stretch 9 of 12, 92 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 expected points added per pass. Just tremendous turnaround, and it had everything to do with the attrition the Lions faced in their secondary. All right, here's the first play we're going to look at. 1st and 10 from the Lions 30-yard line. The Bears are looking at cover 1. Just a quick refresher on that. Whatever you hear with the number, that's the number of deep defensive backs they have. So in this instance, there is one person at the top. It's a man coverage scheme to where you'll see here how they are lined up. The Bears run an isolation route for Anthony Miller. So they're basically going to clear out with the number 1. That's the receiver closest to the sideline. Miller is the number 2. He's going to run an out route. And then you have Allen Robinson running a drive. And then you have Tariq Cohen just running a little flare swing route. So my assumption on this progression, Miller 1, Robinson 2, the 3 would be the check down to Cohen. So 3-step drop, Mitch IDs it and lets it rip. Ball placement could have been a little bit better on this, but again, they found their matchup with McRae. They had hit him on the play before for 18 yards. So what an incredible play by Anthony Miller here just to get this drive going. After the Bears hit Jimmy Graham on a mesh route to get down to the 1-yard line, they run a 2-man combination here with Allen Robinson and Javon Wims. You'll see that Robinson is initially lined up in the slot over McRae. They're going to run basically a little crosser here where Allen Robinson's going to give the inside step and he's going to head straight towards the pylon. Javon Wims is going to come in to create a little bit of a rub, but then he's going to bend it back to the corner route. Watch McRae on this play completely bite for the fake that Allen Robinson gives him, but what he's executing what's called a banjo technique, or in and out, meaning that they're going to swap responsibilities. If one guy goes inside, they're going to basically rotate on who's taking who. McRae is left behind from the move from Robinson and just gets himself 3 to 4 yards behind Wims on this throw. Perfect throw from Trubisky, but again, just really taking advantage of the new corner in this game for the Bears to get a touchdown and now get within real striking distance at the end of the game. Add it all up, and the Bears went 3 for 3 against McRae on this drive, 32 yards and a touchdown. So they had identified their mark and they went after it and got some points as a result of it. So after the Bears gave the ball back to the Lions, Matthew Stafford just made an incredibly poor decision throwing the ball late over the middle of the field. It was deflected and intercepted by Kyle Fuller. So the Bears have the ball in Lions territory late in the game, and they're finding their mark again. They go for a McRae once again with Anthony Miller. They went to this combination and this concept several times throughout the game. It's called a smash. So basically, it's a high-low concept where you're going to occupy the cornerback in this instance with just a quick hitch, a quick comeback, and then given the fact that the Lions are again playing cover 1 with the free safety in the middle of the field, it's basically a foot race between Anthony Miller and McRae to the pylon. And so whoever gets there first, there's no way that the free safety is going to be able to make up that much ground and actually defend this. So Mitch Trubisky knows where he's going with the ball straight off the snap, throws an absolute dime to the front of the pylon. Incredible catch again by Anthony Miller to hold on to this in the concentration, and Bears win. This is it right here. So it's just an incredible execution. And again, kudos to Matt Nagy. I remember giving him grief back in the Philadelphia playoff game about not identifying the mismatch he had with Avonte Maddox and Allen Robinson. He went to it too late. They didn't do it here. They didn't make that same mistake, and the Bears walked out of Detroit with a win. So, in summary, some good and bad came out of that Lions game. These are some themes that stood out to me. Love the variety and the commitment to the run game. You saw Mitch under center a little bit more. I think that's going to bear fruit on some more boots and rollouts later on in the season as they stay committed to those outside zone and stretch plays, like some of the traps that they ran with Tariq Cohen as well. So just a crisper performance from the offensive line. Their playmakers showed up on both sides of the ball. Kyle Fuller, Khalil Mack, Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson, the people they needed were there when they needed them most. And the team persevered. 17 points in the fourth quarter to come back from that. I know that's kind of a thing for Matt Patricia. 11 times in his 33 games as head coach, he's given up a fourth quarter lead, losing 10 of those. But hey, if a team gives you a chance, you have to make the most of it, and the Bears sure did. The bad, I wanted to isolate this in film, but the all 22 didn't come out soon enough. Danny Trevathan had a really tough game, and so when you think about the Giants coming to town with Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley, I guarantee you they're going to have some plays dialed up to try and isolate him in coverage. Mitch's footwork again in the pocket was a mess, even in clean pockets, just imbalanced, throwing back, falling backwards when he was throwing, not planting his feet. His drop was offline, so just a continual struggle with him. So I'm eager to see how that progresses throughout the season, and just an inconsistent pass rush. They need to get a little bit more. I know they didn't have Robert Quinn, and they might have him this weekend, but you need to see a little bit more up front. I think they have a chance to get well this week against a still developing Giants offensive line. I like the Bears this weekend. I like the Bears to put up some points on offense, and I see them by like a touchdown. I'm thinking like 30-23, somewhere along those lines. So again, thanks for the patience on this. I know all 22 didn't come out as quickly as I want, but this was fun. I hope to keep this up, and episode 1 of all 22 review is a wrap. Be well, everybody.